Welcome back to another SCP reading, dear researchers. Today we're going to be reading SCP-375, Temporal Credit Union. Now without further ado, item number SCP-375, Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. The shopping mall where SCP-375 is located has been purchased by the Foundation and repurposed as Site-375, a site for the monitoring of SCP-375 and storage of safe-class SCP objects. The main sign on the front face of SCP-375 is to remain concealed at all times. Test subjects are to be shown photographs during experimentation. Testing of SCP-375 is only to take place on D-Class personnel, who are exempt from monthly termination in order to study the cumulative effects of SCP-375 exposure. Description: SCP-375 is a former Wells Fargo bank located in Casper, Wyoming. The signage on the building and front door has been anomalously modified to read Temporal Credit Union, while retaining the original Wells Fargo typeface. A series of 11 humanoid entities designated SCP-375-A remain present within the building at all times, equipped in matching uniforms and claiming to be employees of SCP-375. SCP-375's anomalous properties manifest when any subject views its main sign and/or interacts with the SCP-375-A instances inside the building. During Phase 1 of SCP-375 infection, subjects will feel compelled to exchange items of personal sentimental value via deposit and withdrawal. Between 12 to 24 hours after a deposit has been made, the deposited item will be replaced with an extra universal object, designated SCP-375-B, that is superficially similar to the original, but apparently from one of many alternate realities. Examples of items that have been retrieved from Phase 1 tests are provided in the table below. Phase 1 experimental data. Subject D34924. Item deposited: autographed trading card of Major League Baseball player Albert Pujols. SCP-375-B instance. Autographed trading card of Albert Pujols for the North American Baseball League. Pujols is listed as having played for the Seattle Pilots from 2001 through 2010, and the St. Louis Browns from 2011 through 2012. Subject D30246. Item deposited: pennies produced by SCP-1015. Subject was an SCP-1015-2 instance. SCP-375-B instance. 1974 United States nickels. And a footnote here. Close examination of the nickels reveal they do not match coins produced by the United States Treasury in 1970, and depict Harriet Tubman in place of Thomas Jefferson. SCP-1015's effect seemed to cease while subject is inside the bank. Upon leaving, subject's anomalous properties are altered so that nickels identical to those acquired within SCP-375 are produced in place of previous pennies. Subject D99411. Item deposited: 2009 school yearbook from Sandalwood High School in Jacksonville, Florida, United States. SCP-375-B instance. 2009 school yearbook from Revolution High School in Harkinsville, Florida, People's Republic of America. Yearbook editorials focus on the eternal struggle against capitalism, the importance of accepting Cuban refugees from the reactionary Havana regime, and miscellaneous local developments. D12539. Item deposited: Autographed copy of the autobiography Under a Cruel Star by Hida Margulies Kovale. SCP-375-B instance. Autographed copy of the autobiography Fortress Prague by Hida Margulies Kovale. Narrative recounts the author's life in fascist rule Europe, beginning with the March 1939 invasion of Czechoslovakia by the Greater German Reich, and ending with the Allied liberation of the continent in 1951. The author frequently expresses guilt for doing nothing to prevent the deportation and extermination of her friends and neighbors. A note has been added to the author's signature which reads, to D12539, May Europe rise from the ashes. Approximately 80% of affected subjects will not progress past Phase 1 and will continue to use SCP-375 to exchange their possessions indefinitely. However, 20% of affected subjects will experience Phase 2 of infection within 6 months of exposure. After this phase begins, SCP-375-A instances will begin asking about participating in the Temporal Exchange Program. Consent to participate will invariably be given by all affected subjects by the third time SCP-375-A instances ask about the program. Once subjects agree, they will follow instances to the employee section of SCP-375 and enter the building's bank vault. 12 to 24 hours after their disappearance, a humanoid with physical characteristics identical or near identical to that of the previous subject will exit from the bank. These humanoids, designated SCP-375-C, also appear to come from alternate realities and are often wearing dramatically different attire than the original test subject. Examples of humanoids that have been retrieved from Phase 2 tests are provided in the table below. Phase 2 experimental data. SCP-375-C instance D99411 equivalent. Clothing worn upon retrieval. Non-standard Foundation lab coat. Information obtained from SCP-375-C. Instance claims to be a researcher at the non-existent Site-13 and described a reality in which the Foundation and the Global Occult Coalition worked together to utilize and/or destroy anomalous phenomena. Instance is apparently non-anomalous and was assigned to a humanoid containment wing at a nearby site, pending possible Foundation employment. Instance D413 equivalent. Clothing worn upon retrieval. Civilian clothing. Information obtained from the instance. Instance appeared to be heavily intoxicated and was determined to be under the influence of several anomalous drugs. When asked for the date, Instance claimed it was Liberary 32nd and expressed irritation at the Foundation for interrupting its participation in a hedonistic festival. If accurate, this marks the first known occurrence of a subject being successfully removed from an SCP-3455 event in progress. Instance D34289 equivalent. Clothing worn upon retrieval. Civilian clothing circa 1920s. Information obtained from the instance. Instance displayed anomalous monochromy with its clothing and skin, appearing as black and white in a manner similar to a vintage photograph. Instance remained highly distressed and loudly vocalized in pain for 5 minutes before its eyes appeared to transform into large anomalous white orbs and removed themselves from its body. Instance expired 15 minutes later while repeatedly expressing dismay at losing contact with the beautiful blue. SCP-375-C instance, Junior Researcher Alfason, equivalent. Clothing worn upon retrieval. Non-standard Foundation field uniform. Information obtained from the instance. See Addendum 375-A. Addendum 375-A. In July 2018, it was discovered that junior researcher Ulf Fassen, a researcher assigned to SCP-375, had been using SCP-375 on himself without authorization from his superiors. After this activity was uncovered and disciplinary action had been taken, close analysis of SCP-375-B instances produced by Ulf Fassen's tests concluded that he had likely exchanged SCP object documentation with the SCP-375-A instances. Upon interrogation, Olfasen admitted this was true, and said each copy submitted was a printed documentation of an SCP object which had properties or containment procedures that personally interested him, thus fulfilling SCP-375's item criteria. Several SCP-375-B instances produced by junior researcher Olfasen are summarized below. Original SCP documentation. SCP-173, a hostile Euclid-class anomalous sculpture that is incapable of moving when observed. Retrieved documentation. Phenomena number 173, a publicly displayed anomalous art sculpture that changes its appearance when left unobserved for 1 second every 24 hours. Original documentation. SCP-4839, a Euclid-class info hazard that causes Foundation employees to believe select non-anomalous items must be contained. Retrieved documentation. SCP-4839, an Apollyon-class info hazard that caused the Foundation to destroy human civilization in an attempt to contain every object in existence. Original SCP documentation. SCP-375 baseline documentation. Retrieved documentation. SCP-375, an anomalous bank which compels subjects to deposit items into it, and eventually themselves and their family members. Subjects' body parts are then withdrawn in various states of dismemberment, referred to as compound interest. The altered SCP-375 documentation was recovered after an SCP-375-C instance, similar in appearance to junior researcher Ulf Fassen, emerged from SCP-375 unprompted. This marked the first known spontaneous manifestation of an SCP-375-C instance without an equivalent temporal exchange. So we can get new person if we put person in there. Or new thing if we put thing in there. We could also learn a lot more about objects, especially because if what the 173 documentation was anything like, a lot of SCPs, especially the artistic ones, could probably be hidden in plain sight. Though, we're never going to do that. The Foundation is a little bit too, what's the word? Excited about containing things? Oh well. Thank you very much for coming, dear researchers. It's been an honor reading for you, and I hope to see you all next time.